Hi students, welcome to Module 3, Interactive Designing Web Certificate course. This module will be handled by me, Lakshmi. So I'll take you across what all contents you are going to cover it up in Module 3. So day 1, I'll be talking about key terminologies of website. Day 2, how to get a domain and how to host a website. Day 3, how to create a login page and host it in a website. Day 4, how to create a blog. And day 5, so you have learned all these things, how to create a blog, how to create a website. So how to make some money online. So I'm going to take you across some new concept called SEO, search engine optimization. And day 6 and 7, I'll be covering few scripting language, the basics of scripting language like JavaScript, and what are all the editors in this scripting languages, where all we can use this JavaScript or all these editors. I'll be making you familiar. So let's start our module 3. Hope you all will enjoy all the modules. Let's start with the day 1, the first module. So before getting into the modules, let me just review what you have learned in all the 2 modules from the beginning. So in the beginning, you would have learned about what is meant by HTML, and the last module, module 3, 2, you would have learned about CSS, I suppose. So cascading style sheet language, you would have come across different programs, and a program with HTML, a program which is having a CSS inside that, and without a CSS, how the web page looks like. So by now, I think all of you would have been a very good expertise in HTML and CSS. If at all, by any chance, if you have taken all the videos, all the 14 videos of 2 modules. Okay, so let me see how far you're going to listen to this modules as well. So this is just an overview of what you have learned in CSS, when CSS was found, and who came up with this, all this HTML and CSS and all. It was given by W3C group. I think all this was discussed in the previous module. I just don't want to waste much of time on that. And I guess you would have learned about the 3 types of CSS as well: inline CSS, internal CSS, external CSS. So what is the significance of CSS in the 3rd module? You can ask a question, ma'am, is it really required for me to know all the technicalities of like how to design a HTML page? Should I learn all the codings? I could see most of the students assignment as well, just they have taken all the scratch codes from the website itself. If you just type in Google index.html, login.html with CSS, without CSS, if you don't want to take from the Google, there are plenty other ways you can take the source code. Just any website you want to say have the same look and feel, just right click on that website page and click on view page source if you are using a Windows system, and you can view all the HTML codes which is there. You can just copy and paste it. You can also make the website of yours, just adding a different colors into that. So all this, so I'll be taking you across. You must know the CSS just to design your website to have a better look and feel. So as I was telling you, the last day, that is day 6 and 7, I'll be talking about scripting language. So before starting into those things, I just wanted to give all the overview what the entire course is going to give you. So scripting languages, like for computer science background, most of you can understand what is scripting, what is language. For those who are not from the same background, you must understand what is a scripting language deals with. This is nothing of a rocket science. So for everything, the computer system has to be coded. We have different programming languages to make our task simpler. So we have many programming languages. In order to run a website, in order to create a website, or in order to create your HTML documents, we have many scripting language involved. It is just nothing, it is like a programming language itself, but it automatically executes our task. Okay, so it is called as an interpreted language rather than a compiled language. More technical terms, don't worry. So interpreted means if you write one line, it will check the error immediately. Only if you clear the error in the previous line, it will go to the next line. It is called as interpretation. Compiling means you'll write complete line of code, and then in the end you will sit and check for the mistakes. If there is any mistakes in that lines of code what you have written, that is called as compiled and interpreter. Here our scripting language is an interpreter. In this image you can see something colorful. Net basic is written, javascript is written, node.js is written, php is written, python is here, mysql is there. I'm talking about MySQL, MySQL, MongoDB. And for you to fetch a job, for you to have an expertise, just this is more than enough. Like learning a JavaScript and Node.js, MongoDB or MySQL and Python and PHP and rest of the things whatever is there in the picture, it is all the trending trendsetter or trust in the sense not trust, it's in the core, like you can fetch a good job. So in day 6 I'll be talking only about JavaScript and PHP in this as the scripting language. Okay, so let's move on. So let's come into our day 1. That is, this particular module is going to deal with key terminologies that are important for you all to learn this complete course, module 3. The complete module 3, if you have to understand, you must understand all the terminologies used inside, first of all, before getting inside the actual technical concepts. Yes, so first one, let's see what is meant by a website and what is meant by domain, what is a server, what is called as web hosting. So let's see first one, what is a website is. So as you all know, a website is nothing but it will have a collection of many pages or which is having a related content, then it is called as a website. So one website is not like it is having a single page, it will have many multiple pages inside that, and we can design the website of our own choice, whatever we want, however we want, you can design the website. By now you will, every one of you will know at least to design the main page of the website. So generally a website page will have, the starting page will have about us, home or contact us, then you'll have a sign in page, or if you don't have an account, sign up page. So all these things will be there in your home page, the beginning page of the website. So if you have multiple multiple pages, then together we call that as an website. And every website will have something called as domain name, and it should be published at one of the web server. We need two things so that this website get active. So what is this domain name? I would have seen everywhere like www dot some flipkart.com, .org, .net, .uk, .us, .in. So what are all these things? Domain is nothing but it is like an identification string at the end of your website, which will give you a clear idea to what context it belongs to, what kind of networking concept it belongs to, or I can identify what type of network domain it is, or I can identify what type of protocol is used inside it. I'll be showing you in detail what is this protocol, what is this internet protocol, what is exactly for domain. So for time being, just understand domain comes with all this .org, .com, all this are called as your domain. So next, let's see what is in detail, what is this domain doing technically. So domain, I can tell, it is also something called, it is a framed rules or procedures how a website should be created or how the website should be named. So generally we give all these names in some place called as domain name system. So domain name system, or I can call that as DNS root. There are many terminologies available to name our domain. So generally the terminologies are com, org and .net, whatever. So we have some levels inside domain, the first level, second level and the bottom level. So for time being, just understand what is domain, it's more than enough. So next is a server. So server, this term is most predominant or common, I can tell. Most of the places you would have seen what is something called a server is not working, server error. So server is nothing but it is just a main computer on a big, it's an important system which has to be kept very secure, or it's a computer that is giving all the data to other computers. They form a network like structure. So they can also form a local area network, or they can also form a wide area network depending on the size of computers that has been attached. That is called as a server. For you a better understanding, just imagine you are sitting in a hotel and you are ordering so many foods, and if at all you're hungry, you order a lot and lot of foods, like you need that, you need this. You are telling to a person, so that person is called as a server. So he is the one who gives you all the data and information. So he, the same as the job of a server in the system also. So we have many types of server, like we have something called web server, we have mail server, we have file server. For each of this there is some specific software. If I install that specific software, that will run. So what is this web server doing? So web server is having something called as Apache HTTP server inside that. So you would have seen whenever you load to a particular page, it comes with HTTP, that is called hypertext transfer protocol. So that means it is a web server, it is a web page. This web page is stored inside this server. It is fetching the information from the web server. The same when you access a Gmail account, it will go to a mail server. What does this mail server has? Mail server has some SMTP services, that is simple mail transfer services. These are all protocols. Just if you understand, I'm not getting into much deeper technicalities of these things, just overview. There is each, for each and everything there is a server. Imagine the hotel. In hotel, for the serving, like if you go to a hotel where there is chaat is there is a dessert and there is a juice and there is a meal. So for each and everything there will be separate counter, not everywhere everything is taken from the same place. So if you want to particular things, you go to that station, that server. The same way in the computer system you have different web server, mail server, file server. It is used to for sharing all the files over your network. So next we have, what is this important concept, something called web hosting. So now you are familiar with what is website, then you are familiar with what is meant by domain, then you are familiar with what is meant by server. So what is this web hosting? It is something going to host something. This web hosting is nothing but this is an important concept. Now from day one, that is, you have learned HTML, you have learned CSS, and now what you're going to do, what is the benefit out of learning this too, how you are going to implement this. So you are deciding to create a website with all the codes you have learned. You feel like having your own website in your name, maybe X website, Y website. You're planning to have the website for a lifetime, where you want to make some blogs and you want people to learn about you. Or if you are a travel freak, you want to create a page, a blog or a vlog. There is something called as vlog, VLOG. You wanted to show it to all of them, like up to date, you want to keep on updating, and there are some 1,000 followers who's looking keenly what you are doing today, and you can make money out of that. So how to do all these things? So then you must understand an important concept called as web hosting. It is a hosting is nothing but you are getting some space on the web server for your website what you have created. Only then anyone with, suppose you have a website called x.com, if I'm typing this x.com, if I want to get to know your information, then I need to get a web hosting done, getting a space on the internet or the website or inside the server, then it is called as hosting, or I can call that as a web hosting. Okay, so it is like an, I'm going to provide a service. So now we understood something called what is domain and what is web hosting. Let me just tell you what is the difference between this hosting and what is this domain. Suppose you, as I told you, you wanted to create your own website. So suppose you, if your website name is my ways of life or about me, everyday updates about me, something you want to create your website. And what is this web hosting, what does this web domain means? If the website you have created and if it has to be brought it online, and if you want to so many other people to visit your website now and then you must have to, you must have a domain. You should get a domain, you should pay somewhere and you should get a domain for your website. This domain, as I mentioned, like .com, .org, .xyz, whatever you want. And what is this hosting doing? Hosting is nothing but it is giving you a storage space for your website. From this hosting place, you can keep on adding as many as HTML pages, as many as CSS pages you want. You keep on adding to from the hosting side, it gets added to your website. The website keeps on streaming, you can make changes now and then. This is the main difference between web hosting and domain. So in this context, you can see here it is mentioned domain registration is a leasing a human readable word that directs people to specific website via a browser. So you'll have a browser, and using that browser it is taking you to that particular website. How does this happen? There is something called, I told you, you must get a domain. That is also called as, you must get a domain registered for yourself. So what is this domain registered for yourself? So in computer we have this technical terms called as IP address. This IP address is nothing but internet protocol address for every system. So generally you would have seen in movies also, if there is some hacker sending a message or someone sending a message, they trace us using this IP address. So which computer system is having this IP address, internet protocol address, and we can track that person. The same way, when you create a website, if your website has to be hosted, it means it should come live online. When I click on your website name, it should immediately take you to the like that particular page. Whatever updates you're making, it has to be updated to every user. Then I need this an important number, a series of number that is called as internet protocol address, that will allow you to access this website. So I was talking about this hosting. There are many hosting sites available online. For getting a domain also we have many sites, and we have some hosting sites like InHost, InMotion Hosting, Bluehost, SiteGround. There is some more hosting website, FreeHostia. And don't worry if you're not understanding this hosting website, I'll be showing you practically how to host a website and how to host how to get a domain. Okay, so when you get this website done and now you want to host those files, if you have 10 HTML files you wanted to attach to a website, then I need to do this web hosting. Only then all those 10 files whatever you have attached will reflect onto your website. So next important term, key terminologies is DNS, domain name server. Very important concept. Without this DNS management, their website will not work. There are many things involved inside DNS, this DNS server. And what is the job of this DNS? So the job of this DNS is to give you the proper internet connection, either through internet or through any private network. All those things will be taken care by DNS. So you would have seen sometimes if you're using a Google account, if the internet gets disconnected, you can see DNS error. This DNS error or DNS is nothing but domain name server. The main job of them is to translate whatever human is typing, whatever name human is typing, and it matches with the machine IP address, and it will give you the result on your screen. Exactly, if you are typing like www dot, like, or in Google you are just typing something, okay, like flipkart.com or something, how the system is able to understand you're trying to fetch a particular IP address. This domain name server acts like a translator. What the human types, it will translate, and it will just make the system understand what the human is asking, and it will give fetch the IP address from the server, domain name server, and it will store all the records whatever is there in the server, and it will respond to the request given by the human, and it will give the whatever result you are looking for. This is a job of domain name server. Okay, so if amazon.com is your query, and immediately the system DNS will read what domain the user is asking, then it will match the IP address, it will give you the page what you are looking for. So it's clear what is DNS. Okay, so with this we'll wind up the key terminologies of the how to create a website, how to host a website. Now I'll be continuing the next module. We'll be seeing how to do all these things practically, how to create a website, how to host a website, how to get a domain, how to pay for a domain, how to make your website active. So thank you all for listening. So let's come back to the day 2 module 3. We'll be talking about how to host a website. Thank you guys.